Hey everybody, Roger here. I want to talk to you guys today about the new show that replaced Roseanne Barr's Roseanne Conner on the show's old show, Roseanne, The Conners, and its debut last night. So, early estimates that I saw were estimating the show to have been, to have brought in about 10 million viewers with a rating of about 2.1 or 2.2. Now compare that with Roseanne's, the Roseanne show, the Roseanne revamped show that came out recently, with about, I think, 18.1 or 18.5 million viewers and a 5.1 rating. The ABC is basically claiming this as a soft victory, stating that, okay, you know, while it doesn't match, it never would have matched the original totals of audience and statistics of the original Roseanne, it still managed to be one of the best rated and highest watched shows of any fall season or something like that. I'm not sure what the heck that means, but I think it's just a soft way of saying kudos to them, to themselves, giving themselves a pat in the back. Well, here's the other thing though. This first show, I think, just piqued the curiosity of people who knew that they were not going to be fans, who knew they were not going to be watching this going forward, and wanted to pique their interest to see how they were going to get rid of Roseanne. Well, lo and behold, and again, I haven't watched the full episode. I think I might, and I'm going to do it in a way that I'm not going to be participating in any sort of a ratings game. So I won't release my method, but I will watch it in some way that I will not assist in that ratings, which kind of stupid, but anyways. So Roseanne dies of a drug overdose, opioids addiction or something, and that's beyond the premise of what I want to talk to you about today in this video. What I want to talk about is the reactions of everybody involved. You know, early on, that kid DJ, Michael Fleshman or Fishman or whatever his name is, Michael Fleshlight, he basically said, he sent out this long tweet basically condoning and hating everything that Roseanne put in her tweet. Like, made this like 3-paragraph tweet basically saying, I teach my kids to be inclusive, and this does not reflect our values, this doesn't reflect who we are as people, and whatever. And then I think Roseanne responded like, wow, yeah, throw me under the bus, why don't you? You know, I created the show, I brought the values into the show, which she did. This is her creation. Roseanne is her creation. And a show was adopted thereafter for about 9 seasons, and then a 10th one. Now this horrible first season of The Conners. Again, I'm judging it at this point. I think I am going to have a bias when I'm gonna critique it after actually watching it. I know I said I wasn't going to, but I want to kind of see. I'm not going to watch it for ratings, and I'm glad I'm not going to be part of that statistic. But I want to watch it just to get an overall review of like what happened, what I see for it transpiring going forward, and will it last, etc. So with this, we now have the two of the 3 kids. The one who plays Becky and Michael Fleshlight. I'm going to call him Fleshlight. They were all talking about. They were all on The View, and they were talking about, what is it like working with that Roseanne, and I think, they gave their own piece the way that they did on there, but it just seemed so staged. It was just, these kids obviously did not like Roseanne if they were willing to go that route to try to push the show. With me, if I'm, and I know it's a job, but these guys are like family at this point. If I know that one of my friends or family or co-workers even are being mistreated, I wouldn't be joining the crowd saying, hey, yeah, whatever you guys want to do, get rid of her or whatever, I don't care, or keep her, I don't care. But when you just sit there and don't do nothing, let only the execs take control. I mean, you guys are a conglomerate. You guys are a unity all the cast members, all the video crew, the lighting crew, all of you all could have said, no, this is too much. This is too much. What you guys are doing is overboard. You know, you guys are, you know, you're throwing shade like there's no tomorrow at Roseanne for such a minor thing. Again, I've mentioned this before, but Valerie Jarrett is no American hero. She's far from it. In fact, she probably hurts more people than Roseanne has ever hurt. So, you know, let that sink in. So anyways, they could have all stood up for her and just did their own strike, saying, if she goes, we go. They could have done that. There were a lot of opportunities for people to do that. Did any of them do that? No. None of them did that. Not even John Goodman, who I was very surprised about. But John Goodman just stayed neutral throughout the whole process. And it is what it is. But nobody stood up for Roseanne. And what did Roseanne do after that? She went ahead and waived her financial gain, her profits from any sort of Roseanne-esque items for the future, so that way the cast and crew could work for this first season of the Conners. She did that. She has a heart. Now, she has since just wanted to be alone. I think she's, you know, separated herself from everybody. Rightfully so. Why would you want to be around people who you felt for years were your friends, were literally your second family, and you go and you say one thing and not one of them defends you. Everybody attacks you saying everything you did is wrong. Why would you want to associate with that anymore? I wouldn't. So then you see that girl that plays Becky. She was doing this like a street interview, like on a EW or Entertainment Weekly TV show. And in there, they asked her a question like, what do you think about the Roseanne thing? And she's like, well, and this part kind of irked me. She said, well, Roseanne, you know, she was acting like these conspiracy theorists, and, you know, and they're always wrong, and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Conspiracy theorists? No, everything Roseanne knows and said about Valerie Jarrett is not a conspiracy theory. These people have their mind in the gutter. They don't know shit. They don't know politics. They don't know world events. They don't know who's involved, who's in charge to actually hurt the world. Again, Valerie Jarrett is part of that clique. But no, she just has to say, oh, you know, yeah, she's a conspiracy theorist, and you know what they say about those people, they're always wrong. And I'm just like, what is wrong with you? You guys are all drinking the Kool-Aid. And even Michael Fleshlight, you know, he was basically saying that stuff as well. It's just ridiculous to me. So that's the thing. I'm a little upset at the fact that, that overall, you know, I'm upset that one person who brought this, who has created Roseanne from the get-go, who was the original creator of Roseanne, is now having had to, or was, whether willfully or forced or a combination of both, turn over the rights of the character and the demise of the character to ABC and all of these producers and whatever. Makes no sense. She let it go. It is what it is. So there is still little Rosie. You know, she could be, maybe she still has rights to that to that cartoon. Anyways, one last thing I want to bring up here is this. If you work for a company or a group of people who all over exaggerate everything, who all will not even bother sitting you around in a circle with other employees or whatever and say, hey, you know, can you explain this? You know, we got a Disney exec here. We got ABC's president, black woman, I don't remember her name. All of them making the decision right away just to can her. Instead of actually sitting down and talking to her, explaining what happened. You know, hey, can we get your input on this? Can we get the input with you sitting with all the cast and crew? Let's find out if we can hash this out. No, they just immediately fired her. It's bullshit. That kind of decision making, those people at the top, that kind of decision making, is that the kind of employer that you want to work for? Is it the kind of leadership that you want to have? When obviously what I see in the future for this Conner show is that it's going to go nowhere. It's going to flop. We got the peaked interest right now with a little bit over 10 million viewers, 2.1 rating. We know that there's just a lot of piqued interest that I think it's going to crash after the second and third episodes. Anyways, why would anyone want to work for a company that makes bad decisions like that? Can an employee left and right, especially when they were the employee that brought in the most, who actually was the visual representation of said product? Why would you want to work for a company like that? Wouldn't you feel much more safer if you had better leadership around you? ABC's leadership and Disney's leadership is bullshit. It's crap. I would not want to work for people that made rash decisions like that. Now, granted, sometimes we all make stupid decisions, but this was a very stupid decision. I mean, those people at the top are there for a reason, because they need to be put there to make difficult decisions, to weigh in on evidence, to weigh in on data, stats. I mean, look at their sponsorship for commercial spots, etc. And for them to make such a rash decision when it wasn't even a racist tweet. And that's another thing. The media, they keep calling it a racist tweet. It was not a racist tweet. Quit calling it a racist tweet. Obviously, that's not, my words will not help it stop from prevent it from happening. But it wasn't a racist tweet. It was a very valid tweet of somebody who looked like a character from the Planet of the Apes. Whether it was black, white, Mexican, or whatever, or a dog, it doesn't matter. She looked like her. I'm pretty sure you all have eyes and you can see that. Anyways, yeah, I take offense to the, not offense. I take, I'm embarrassed for those employees. You know, Sarah Gilbert coming out acting like a fucking whack job, you know, oh, this isn't what we're about. And then Michael Fleshlight, you know, writing that stupid ass tweet. And then Becky coming out saying that Roseanne's a conspiracy theorist. I'm sorry, but you guys need to start really looking at the real world. You're living too much in Fantasyland. And not only that, you guys are also showing your true colors. You're too afraid to stand up when it counts. She stood up for you. She stood up for you multiple times. You know, she even stood up for you by forfeiting any of her earnings going. I'm not sure if it's earnings, but any of the going forward licensing, what is it, royalties or whatever that she was going to be making, her salary, whatever it is. She basically forfeited her earnings to allow the Conners to be produced, so that way people could be staying into work. She does all this for you. None of you decided to stand up for her and say, hey, maybe we should get this closer, at least a little bit closer. No, you let it be an overnight thing where they all got fired. You could have easily stood up and gone against that. I would never want to work for a company like that. Don't work for companies like that. People that make bad decisions on the top, they're going to sink you. And that's what's going to happen here with this show. The Conners will sink. The decisions are going to be they should be blamed on the people who exaggerated, Sarah Gilbert and the other two kids from the cast. I would even say Laurie Metcalf in a way. John Goodman, while you were silent, you were neutral, and you say you miss her and everything, you didn't stand up for her. She probably would have stood up for you if something like this would have happened to all of you. But you guys have all shown your true colors, whether it's being a coward or just not assisting or whatever. And the leadership, God, I don't know how you guys get paid the big bucks when you make stupid-ass decisions like that. This was one of your cash cows. This would have been an ongoing cash cow for you. But no, because of, you know what? Political correctness, SJW-isms, and modern-day feminists, everything like that, anything that has to do with social justice in the modern day, you guys ruin everything. You ruin everything. And you know what? You ruin this, but here's the good thing. Well, actually, maybe not. The good thing is this. You guys' attention span is very limited. I mean, you only know chants that you do, like when you're at rallies. Fuck the police, you know, and all that stupid bullshit. This is what democracy looks like. You guys, you have no substance to fill those headlines. There never is. You can go into I've asked questions to people in person. Nobody can ever answer questions when you start to get too deep because they don't have the answers. And that's pretty much leftism ideology. It doesn't go past the eyes. It doesn't go into the brain. They know 5-letter words, so that's what they chant. And 5-letter phrases, and that's what they chant. And you guys are ruining this as well. When we start looking at business again as profits, solely profits, regardless of like political affiliation, outlook, or whatever, and not make everything in business a social SJW issue, we're going to finally get somewhere. But it's happening now, and this is proof positive that this kind of bullshit of taking every little thing seriously, and your leaders Disney leader and ABC's president, or executives, you know, making a rash, rush decision and regretting it, I would never want to work under your belt. I need a good leader. I need a good leader who would have asked Roseanne, hey, let's all sit together and work this out and find out what's going on. And at the end of the day, you would have looked a lot better whether you would have kept Roseanne going on the show or not, if you were to have just at least had a meeting about it. But no. Probably one of the quickest cancellations ever. You guys are fucking mental. Fucking mental. I don't know how you actually earn what you earn, or how you got the position that you did. But there are people with actual better work ethic that don't involve this kind of bullshit politic into their work, and are able to look at these kind of things and be like, okay, well, maybe we need to have a talk or not, and hash things out, maybe write people up or whatever. I don't know, but not just immediately just let go of somebody because of something so stupid that was not racist. Anyways, what are you guys' thoughts? I know some of you agree with me, some of you won't. I've loved the last input from my last Conners, or from my last Conners video. Yeah, the Conners video. I also have a Roseanne video that I made immediately after she wrote her tweet, if you want to catch that. But I feel pretty strongly about this. This is just another case of leftism ideology and people taking things way too seriously without asking questions and assuming they understand what's going on, but they don't. They don't even know what happened. And it destroying something. In this case, it destroyed a very popular show that could have actually helped to bring the world together because of both leftist writers and more or less a centrist right-wing person in Roseanne. I would say more libertarian. I think that's her affiliation. And coming together to bring media influence, because media does for the average person, media can influence a lot of things. And this could have definitely helped to merge all of us together in these separating times. But no, apparently they wanted to keep us separate still. What are you guys' thoughts? Like, hate, share, subscribe, unsubscribe. Love y'all. Peace out.